The Republicans are always saying, well, the Democrats just want open borders because they want more voters. Is that completely wrong?
There's a real serious dynamic to this, and a really dangerous one, this replacement theory that is trafficked by those who are talking about Democrats bringing immigrants in to take the state or the country over politically. Our governor traffics in that, our lieutenant governor. And there was a guy in 2019 who came to El Paso, and he posted before he walked into a Walmart, "I've come to repel the Hispanic invasion of Texas." Goes into that Walmart and slaughters 23 people because he believed what Donald Trump and Greg Abbott and all these people were telling him. He was afraid that he was going to lose his power and that this invasion was really going to take over the state. So I would love to see my party standing up and reminding this country who we are in the first place. We're a country of immigrants and asylum seekers and refugees, and that has made us the leading superpower in the world. And we won't be able to maintain that status without welcoming more people to this country. Now, we've got to do it the right way. It's got to be orderly. It's got to be safe.
No one would look at what's going on now, really, right, and say, this is the way an immigration system should work. I don't think we need to work on it at all. No one has that opinion.
We're basically funding these cartels that used to run drugs. They don't need to run drugs anymore. They run humans, $10,000 a pop, and you get 3 tries at the border. They're running small children and then leaving them in the desert when they get inconvenient. And then some of those children, they're ending up in places for sex trafficking, in child labor, in agriculture. We are funding these cartels that are then corrupting the countries from where these people are trying to flee from. We've set up the worst system that we could possibly have for immigration. It is a crisis to not actually have a border.
Why is it so hard just to close a border? I've seen other countries do it. I mean, Hungary does it. You may disagree or agree with whether they should. Saudi Arabia, Canada, pretty good at doing it. I mean, they don't have the situation we have. But I did see that 60 Minutes episode where they're just walking through this hole in the fence, and there is a border guard there just waving.
Are you thinking that presidents can solve this problem on their own? That they have some sort of magic executive order wand? They don't. And Congress has benefited from not solving this problem in election after election from both parties who get to blame the other one.
Everyone gets to run on it, right?
Obama did, Trump did, both failed to do it.
Ronald Reagan was the last president to preside over anything approaching comprehensive immigration reform. But to your question, I don't think it's tough. And I agree with Sarah that the status quo is only enriching the cartels and giving them more power. It's miserable for everyone else, including the migrants who are dying at a record number right now. 6 years ago, only 6 migrants died in the El Paso Border Patrol sector. Last year, 149. These are women, these are kids, they're drowning, they're dying of dehydration. So what's the fix? We need more legal pathways to come to this country. And Sarah's 100% correct. Only Congress can do that. The president has done about almost everything that he can. This DHS appropriations bill that passed the House today, it now, over the course of Biden's presidency, has doubled Border Patrol spending, which is 5 times greater than what it was 20 years ago. He's added sections of wall. He's deported more people than President Trump ever did. That alone is not going to get it done. You need ways for people to come here and work the 9 million jobs that we haven't filled, to join family, to flee persecution, and to do it legally.
And the Democrats did call the Democrats did call the bluff of the Republicans. They did give them a bill that actually does seal up the border much better than it is now, and they would not vote for it.
Because Trump wants to run the problem. He doesn't want the solution.
So now, your governor down there, this is the big pissing match going on now. He's saying, if the federal government won't do it, I will. This is Texas's Senate Bill SB 4, Senate Bill 4. State and local police officers are allowed to arrest people suspected of being in the country illegally. Judges to order the deportation of migrants, that's allowed. And of course, the federal government is saying, this isn't a job for the federal government, always has been. And Texas is saying, well, but you're not doing it. If you're not doing it, shouldn't it devolve to the states?
So there was that video that you might have seen this week where a bunch of migrants basically flood the National Guard that was there and overtake them, pushing past them. People were knocked down, etc. And when the White House press secretary was asked about that, she said, go ask the governor of Texas, which is a really weird thing for the executive branch of the federal government to say when they're arguing at the Supreme Court that Texas isn't supposed to have anything to do with it. Part of the problem here is the asylum system. We have this giant magnet. After World War II, we were very understandably and correctly embarrassed by what we did about Jews seeking asylum from Germany and Europe. And so we have this asylum law where if you get to the United States, we are going to hear your asylum claim. Well, unfortunately, that means there's just a huge incentive any way you can to get across that Rio Grande River, because then we have to hear your asylum claim. That's the other thing that only Congress can fix. The president cannot fix that. And as long as that's the rule, that get here and you can stay as long as you say the magic words, I have a credible fear of returning to my country,
Right.
we're not going to fix the border.
Because it's the only way. I agree with you. There are people applying for asylum who should not, but it's because we've capped quotas from countries. We don't really have a guest worker program to speak of. There are people who want to come here to do jobs that nobody born in this country is willing to do. 9 million of them
I
unfilled.
bet if we paid them more, they'd be willing to.
It's possible, and we could try that, but I've talked to cotton gin owners in Texas, and they say it doesn't matter what I pay someone. No one born in Roscoe
Cotton gin owners?
is willing to do this. Yeah.
I know your clothes aren't made of cotton, but
We're still using the cotton gin?
We're still using cotton gin. We're still ginning cotton.
Wow.
But the point is, you've got to
Live and
create
learn
more
here.
legal pathways. And to push back just on one thing you said about Abbott, this guy is an agent of chaos and confusion. The busing, the drowning devices that he put in the Rio Grande River, involuntarily activating 10,000 members of the Guard who have prevented Border Patrol agents who are trained to enforce the law, to apprehend and detain migrants, and to save the lives of those who are drowning in the river. So he can't have it both ways. He can't supplant the federal government, take over their job, and then blame Joe Biden for not doing it. Now, where I think we may agree is I think the president now has to step up. And he has to resolve this chaos and confusion and go in there and make sure the Border Patrol agents have access to the river, make sure that the governor's not complicating what he's doing, follow that Supreme Court decision where those agents can cut through the wires so they can get to the river. And he's got to take charge there, because if he doesn't, this is really going to hurt him in November.